The setting sun painted the dry fields of Ashbrook in shades of amber and gold. In this remote village, one of the few safe havens left after the global tech collapse, children ran between gardens and sheds as if the world wasn't on the brink of extinction. At the edge of the dirt road, a simple wooden house stood quiet. Nathan Carter, a 7-year-old boy with curious eyes and messy brown hair, clumsily swung a wooden practice sword nearly as tall as himself. His bare feet sank into the soft earth as he mimicked the movements of his father. "Steady, Nate," said the calm, deep voice of Daniel Carter, crouching to adjust his son's stance. A spirit blade doesn't answer to strength. It answers to heart, to rage, but also to love. Nathan took a deep breath. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, his swings were smoother, as if something unseen guided the blade. A faint blue spark flickered along the wooden sword's edge, signs of spiritual energy awakening. From the porch, Sarah Carter, his mother, watched with a warm smile, cradling little Emily, Nathan's 4-year-old sister, in her lap. Emily laughed each time Nathan stumbled and clapped her hands proudly when he got it right. "Our little warrior," Sarah whispered. It was a peaceful evening, a family united, a village protected by ancient oaths and warriors who secretly trained in forgotten arts. All knew the Star Raiders, predatory alien factions, still prowled the skies, searching for vulnerable worlds. But no one expected that night to be the final one, with laughter, dinner, and dreams. As night fell, the stars felt unusually close. Nathan lay on a pile of hay next to his sister, listening to his mother's stories. Suddenly, a high-pitched sound split the air, a rising hum. Like metal screaming through space, the ground shook. Sarah was the first to rise. Daniel followed, eyes wide. He knew exactly what it was, and feared this day more than any other. "Grab the kids," he said sharply. "Now!" From the hilltop, a violet light ripped through the clouds. A dagger-shaped alien ship descended violently. More followed. In total, 8 ships hovered above Ashbrook. Alarms rang out, ancient war bells forged in times long past. Villagers screamed. Some of the warriors sprinted to the village gate, wielding glowing spirit swords, but they were hopelessly outmatched. They had come to exterminate. Daniel clutched Nathan's hand tightly, Emily in his other arm. Sarah ran beside them, but a beam of energy struck her directly. She collapsed instantly. "Sarah!" Daniel screamed, dashing to her side. She was already gone. Nathan froze. His mother's lifeless body in his father's arms burned itself into his soul forever. "Nate, look at me!" Daniel shouted. "We have to run!" They darted through burning barns past fallen neighbors, but a group of alien soldiers ambushed them, towering beings in living armor, their eyes deep black voids. From the center of the group emerged the alien commander, Tharzok, the leader of the Blood Star Order. His gaze was cruel, his weapon a spear that pulsed like a breathing creature. Daniel stood in front of his children. "You will not touch them," Tharzok chuckled. His voice echoed directly into the minds of the humans like a broken thought. "You've already lost everything, human. You just haven't accepted it yet." He lunged. Daniel parried the first strike, counterattacked, but was quickly overwhelmed. As he tried to push Nathan and Emily behind him, a soldier's blade sank into his shoulder. He dropped to his knees. Nathan screamed. Emily cried. Tharzok raised his spear for the final blow. Nathan, sobbing uncontrollably, threw himself at the alien's feet. "Please, don't kill my sister. I'll do anything, I swear." Tharzok looked down at the boy. For a brief moment, he hesitated. Then, without mercy, he stabbed Emily through the chest. Her blood sprayed across Nathan's face. The scream that erupted from the boy was no longer human. But before Tharzok could kill Nathan as well, a massive explosion rocked the area. One of the spiritual fuel stores had detonated. The shockwave tore through the group. Nathan was thrown over a cliff. He tumbled through rocks and dirt, landing battered and bloodied, but alive. He opened his eyes. His village burned in the distance. His family was gone. The stars above said nothing. And there, at just 7 years old, alone and trembling with pain and rage, Nathan whispered, "I will kill every one of you." The desert wind howled like a wounded beast, carving patterns across the cracked earth of the Deadlands. Far from any city, any village, or any comfort, Nathan Carter moved like a shadow, his breath controlled, his blade steady, his soul silent. He was 25 now. 18 years had passed since the night his world burned. And he hadn't let go of it for a single heartbeat. After escaping Ashbrook, Nathan wandered alone through the ruins of the old world. He survived on instinct, rage, and memories, starving, wounded, and hunted. He crossed deserts and broken cities, sleeping under collapsed satellites and forgotten temples. For years, he spoke to no one. Until he found the Monastery of the Iron Wind, a hidden fortress carved into a mountain, where warrior monks trained in the ancient art of soul forging. The monks had rules: no students under 10, no outsiders, no vengeance. Nathan was 7 and broken, but when they tried to send him away, he picked up a rusted training blade and defeated 3 of their novices in a single furious burst, not through skill, through something else, pure spiritual rage. Master Jun, the leader of the monastery, saw it. He didn't smile. He simply nodded and said, "Let the mountain decide if he's worthy." Nathan stayed. The training was hell. He awoke before sunrise, ran barefoot on frozen stone, and meditated under waterfalls that cracked ribs. He forged weapons, fought blindfolded, and memorized every weak point of every alien species known to Earth's resistance networks. But even among the monks, Nathan stood apart. He trained harder, bled more, slept less. He rarely spoke. When he did, his words were short and cold. One night, Master Jun approached him during silent meditation. "You do not train to live, you train to kill." Nathan opened his eyes. "Isn't that what you taught?" Jun shook his head. "We train to protect, then teach me everything, so I can protect the next boy from seeing his family torn apart." Jun said nothing. But after that, the doors of the Forbidden Scrolls were opened to Nathan. He learned to manipulate poison, to bend his spiritual energy into weapons, and to silence his presence even among psychic predators. By the time he turned 18, Nathan had already infiltrated alien encampments, hacked into fallen satellite data cores, and fought war beasts in the dark marshes for practice. He never stayed, never built a home, never allowed himself to feel. Until one day, a contact from the underground resistance brought news. The alien commander Tharzok now rules a settlement, pretends to be peaceful, has a family, a daughter, and a son. Nathan felt something twist inside him. Not anger, opportunity. The next 7 years were spent building identities, false trails, and alliances. Nathan crafted masks, one for each village he passed through. Sometimes a traveler, sometimes a healer, sometimes a bounty hunter. He even saved lives, not out of mercy, but to build the legend of a man others could trust. Then came the moment he had been waiting for. Tharzok, now calling himself Lord Zaken, ruled a fortified village built over the ruins of a former human sanctuary. He was respected, even loved by his followers. He had changed names, but Nathan never forgot his face. One afternoon, on a dirt road not far from the village, Lord Zaken's daughter, Elira, was ambushed by scavengers, men hired by Nathan himself. They didn't touch her, because before they could strike, Nathan appeared like a phantom, cutting them down with cold precision. He left one alive, told him to run, and spread the tale of a mysterious swordsman who protected the weak. Elira stared at Nathan with wide, shocked eyes. "What's your name?" He looked away and whispered, Daniel. It was the name of his father. From that moment, he was inside. Elira brought him to the village. Lord Zaken thanked him. The son, Kyle, admired him. Within weeks, Nathan had become a trusted guest, a respected trainer, even a friend to the children of the man who massacred his world. And yet, Elira wasn't like her father. She was kind, curious, brave. She asked questions, helped the poor, nursed sick animals. Nathan told himself it was part of the plan, that he was only playing a role. But one night, beneath a meteor-lit sky, she touched his hand, and he didn't pull away. "There's pain in your eyes," she whispered, "like you've been carrying the world on your back." "Not the world," he said, "just a graveyard." She kissed him, and for the first time in 18 years, Nathan almost forgot why he came, but he didn't forget. Not fully. He studied Lord Zaken's routines, guard shifts, secret meetings with alien officers. He learned when and where they gathered, who they trusted, and where they stored their spiritual weapons. And he made a decision. On the night of the full moon, when Lord Zaken would gather with his loyal commanders in the hidden chamber beneath the palace, Nathan would strike. One night, one blade, the end of a dynasty built on blood. The moon rose like a bleeding eye over the cliffs of Zaken's stronghold. Crimson light bathed the village in an eerie glow, as if the sky itself remembered the crimes committed on this land. It was the perfect night for a massacre. Nathan stood alone at the edge of a cliff, wind tugging at his cloak. Beneath him, the alien warlord's fortress pulsed with life, guards marching, advisors arriving, celebrations echoing through the courtyards. Inside the grand hall, Lord Zaken was hosting his monthly gathering with alien officers, high-ranking collaborators, and spiritual enforcers. Beneath the marble floors, in a hidden chamber lit by soul fires, decisions were made, and secrets buried. Nathan had memorized every step of this night. But first, he had one more thing to do. He slipped through the darkness like a shadow with a heartbeat. No one noticed him. No one ever did when he didn't want to be seen. Elira Zaken's daughter waited at the edge of the lake behind the village. Just as he had asked, she wore a simple white cloak, her hair down, her expression hopeful. "You said it was important," she smiled, "that you had something to tell me." Nathan hesitated. He had trained for this moment, rehearsed it 1,000 times, but now, standing before the only person who ever made him feel human again, his words faltered. "I need you to stay here," he finally said. "No matter what you hear tonight, no matter what happens, promise me you'll stay here." Her smile faded. "What are you talking about?" "Please, Elira, this isn't about us. But if you follow me, it will become about you, and I don't want that." She stepped closer, searching his face. "Daniel, what are you going to do?" He looked down. "What I was born to do." Then he turned and vanished into the trees, leaving her breathless and alone beneath the red moon. The outer gates fell without a sound. Nathan disabled the first 2 guards with spiritual pressure points. They dropped instantly, still breathing but unable to scream. He dragged their bodies behind the statues and moved on, through the garden of glowing vines, over the roof of the archive tower, past the war dogs with their scent-blocking masks. Every corner of this fortress had been mapped in his mind like scars on his heart. He entered through the old servant tunnel, slipped down to the ceremonial wing, and paused before a large circular door carved with alien runes. Behind that door, everyone responsible for what happened in Ashbrook. The doors slid open with a hiss. 12 beings sat around the council table, Zaken's top commanders, each one drenched in centuries of bloodshed. They laughed, drank, and exchanged plans for future conquests. And at the head of the table, robed in silk and bone, sat Zaken himself. Nathan stepped inside, his spirit blade already glowing. One of the guards turned. Too late. The blade cut clean through his neck. No resistance. Another lunged forward, but Nathan's dagger struck his temple before he could shout. In seconds, chaos erupted. 3 soldiers charged. Nathan rolled between them, cutting low, severing tendons. He grabbed one by the neck, slammed him into the soulfire altar, and threw his poisoned needle into the neck's throat. Screams echoed through the hall. Zaken stood slowly, rage flickering in his eyes. "You—" Nathan's hood dropped. "Remember me now." The other commanders fought with desperation, but Nathan was not the boy they left crying in the mud. He danced between blades, redirected energy blasts, and turned their own weapons against them. One by one, they fell. Until only Zaken remained. The warlord was wounded, but still powerful. He summoned a spear of burning plasma and charged. Their blades clashed with a roar that shook the chamber. Sparks flew, stone cracked. Zaken struck with fury, but Nathan countered every move with precision born of obsession. "You're strong," Zaken hissed, "but you're still human." "Exactly," Nathan said. "That's why you're dying tonight." He feinted left, stepped inside, and drove a spiritual dagger laced with blackthorn venom into Zaken's ribs. The toxin ignited in the warlord's lungs, turning his breath into agony. Zaken fell to his knees, choking, burning from the inside. Nathan crouched beside him. "This is for my mother, my sister, my father." "They were nothing," Zaken gasped. Nathan drove the dagger deeper. "And now so are you." He waited, watching the light fade from Zaken's eyes. Then, with one final motion, he slit his throat cleanly and severed his head from his body. He wrapped the head in cloth. He was soaked in alien blood, his cloak torn, his soul shaking. But he wasn't finished. He walked slowly to the lake, where Elira still waited, her eyes wide the moment she saw him. His face was pale, his arms trembling, and in his hand her father's head. She collapsed to her knees. "No, no, please tell me this isn't real." Nathan approached, kneeling in front of her. Tears ran down his face. "I loved you. I still do, but I couldn't let them live, not after what they did. My brother, my family. They killed everyone I ever loved." He pressed his forehead to hers. "I'm sorry, Elira. You didn't deserve a family built on murder." Then he did what he never wanted to do. With one swift strike, he pierced her heart. She gasped, eyes wide with betrayal and pain. He held her as she died, whispering, "I'm so sorry. I hope there's peace on the other side." He laid her gently on the grass, looked up at the sky, and whispered to the stars, "Dad, Mom, Emily, it's done. You can rest now." The village slept. It didn't know it had been gutted. Smoke still drifted from the war chamber beneath the palace ruins. The bodies of alien commanders, now lifeless and broken, lay scattered across stone, soaked in spiritual blood. No alarms were raised. No one came running. Because Nathan Carter had killed silently, completely, like a ghost sent by the gods of vengeance. He walked the path alone now. Each step away from the fortress felt heavier than the one before. His arms were coated in blood, some dried, some still warm. His chest ached, not from wounds, but from weight. Tied to his back was a cloth-wrapped sack, the severed head of Zaken. In his hand, the blood-stained locket that had once belonged to Elira. It had fallen from her cloak as she died in his arms. Inside, a photo. She was just a child, standing beside her alien father, smiling, a real smile, not knowing what kind of monster she'd been born to. Nathan stared at it too long. He wanted to feel nothing, but all he felt was hollow. He reached the old stone cliff above the forest, the same one where he'd stood 18 years ago, after crawling out of the mud and fire. Back then, he had been a broken child with no family, no direction, only a promise. Now he was a weapon honed by time and pain, but he had fulfilled the promise. So why? Didn't it feel like victory? A storm was coming. He could smell it on the wind, hear it in the trees, the kind of storm that felt like a warning. Nathan looked down at the alien head in the sack. "You died too easily," he whispered, then tossed it over the cliff. It rolled, tumbled, bounced against sharp rocks, and disappeared into the dark forest below, like nothing more than garbage thrown into the world. He sat beneath the old tree that had once been a marker for his childhood home. Nothing of Ashbrook remained, only ashes and echoes. His memories came uninvited, the laughter of Emily chasing fireflies, his mother's hands fixing his tunic, his father's calloused fingers gripping his small wrist, guiding the sword. "The spirit answers to heart," his father had said, "but what if the heart is broken?" Nathan whispered to no one. The silence replied like a cold hand across his cheek. He clenched his fists until his knuckles cracked. Then finally he screamed. A scream pulled from every ruined place inside him. It tore through the trees, frightened the birds, and echoed down the cliffs. But no one heard it, because there was no one left. When the storm broke, Nathan didn't move. Rain soaked him, washed the blood off his face, cleaned the blade he had used to kill dozens that night. It felt like the world weeping. Or maybe it was just him. He couldn't tell anymore. A faint hum in the distance. Nathan stood instantly. His instincts still worked, even when his will didn't. From the horizon, a scout drone emerged through the mist, a small metallic sphere with blinking blue sensors and whisper-quiet flight. He drew his dagger but paused. The drone stopped, projected a hologram. A woman appeared, elderly, face scarred, hair tied back in military fashion. General Rhea Dawson, commander of one of Earth's last resistance factions. "Nathan Carter," her voice crackled. "You really did it." He didn't respond. "Zaken is dead, confirmed, every one of his inner circle too. Intel suggests you're responsible." Still silent. "Your strike disrupted the Blood Star Order. You created a power vacuum, but it won't stay empty for long." The hologram glitched for a second, then stabilized. "We need you, now more than ever." Nathan narrowed his eyes. "I'm done." "No, you're not. You've started something bigger than yourself." The rest of the galaxy just noticed. He turned away. "Find someone else." The hologram flickered. Her tone changed. Lower, colder. "We found your father's sword in Zaken's chamber. He kept it all these years." Nathan froze. "We'll return it to you, if you come." The drone hovered in silence. He didn't answer, but he didn't destroy the drone either. That night, he built a fire, not for warmth, just to watch something burn that he could control. He placed the photo of Illyra into the flames. "I'm sorry," he said, not for the first time. The picture curled, darkened, then vanished. As dawn broke, he stood once more at the cliff. Behind him, smoke, fire, blood, ghosts. Before him, war again. He thought revenge would end the war inside him. Instead, it had restarted the war outside. With quiet steps, Nathan walked toward the forest path, back into the world, not as a boy, not as a ghost, not even as a man, but as a question. What does a weapon do when it's done killing?